Hey guys, and welcome to a new show of mine. This is going to be called, I don't know, probably the recap or something like that, and it will be a recap of the previous week's news. I know that for everybody it's not really possible to watch every single Warcraft daily, so this will give you a general overview of what's been going on. Usually I'm going to be omitting things like blue tweets and blue posts, that sort of thing, because I don't really think they're worthy of the final recap. So the first thing I want to talk about is Legendary Cloaks and the Rathian quest. Now Rathian has learnt of the Timeless Isles and he plans to send us there to get some more of an arbitrary currency. This time it's 50 Timeless coins, and we also need to defeat the 4 Celestials that are on the island. After you do that, you get a quest to kill Garrosh, and the files seem to indicate that the Golden Lotus will have a reward for us after that. Now for the cloaks themselves, they have some special abilities. The first one is the Spirit of Chi-Ji. This means your healing spells can put a hot on the target that deals 3% HP per second for 3 seconds. There is the Flurry of Zhuan, which damaging attacks can proc a buff, which makes you do 60% weapon damage to all targets in front of you every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. The next one is the Essence of Yulon. This means you can proc a buff that causes your next damaging spell to do 5k, plus an additional 30k over 5 seconds, so basically 35k in total. And the final one is the Endurance of Nuzhao. This causes an attack that would otherwise kill you to be absorbed, and has a 60-second cooldown, so that would be nice for tanks. Now the next thing is that there's been a lot of Siege of Orgrimmar raid testing, and I already have a video for Immersius up, and I plan on getting on top of the next 2 videos probably tomorrow and the day after. And also we have a new mount. This time it's the Kor'Kron Warwolf. You get this for killing Garrosh on Flex, Normal or Heroic difficulty during 5.4. It's for the Ahead of the Curve achievement. So that's pretty nice. I like the way that they're giving a mount for progress instead of just like doing something ridiculous like Heroics or getting a random drop. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Tier 16 gear. There are new sets for the Priest and for the Warrior. Now I like the Priest gear. I think it's pretty cool. All the shoulders are a little bit ridiculous, but the Warrior I just think is downright ugly. Just weird. It's full of spikes and horns and the weird colouring and blah, not cool. So another thing to talk about is the new 5.4 build. So this contained a number of spell and achievement changes and a whole bunch of models and maps. Now notable additions are that there's a new soft heroism that's made by Leatherworkers. Now the tooltip says it gives 30%. I think it's haste or whatever, but it actually gives 25 according to a tweet. That's instead of 40%, so you're definitely going to want to have a hunter, a mage, or a shaman. But if you don't, then at least there's something, which means that you're not ultra screwed. They also have added a 2-piece PvP trinket set. This will give you a 10% damage reduction. That's pretty nice, and I like the way they're shifting maybe a little bit more of the focus onto gear than 5.3 did, so that's interesting to see. Now they also added a whole bunch of models. There are 2 new Sham models, a Fire Panda, and a Veil of Eternal Blossoms map. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about, and the final piece of news, is the fan site interview. Now I covered this in yesterday's daily in detail, so if you really want to know about that, I'd recommend checking it out. It's pretty interesting anyway. So they said that they might do 5.5. They're not decided on it yet, but it'll probably really depend on when the next expansion is coming out and how long they think 5.4 will last. And of course when 5.4 comes out, none of these things we know, so there's not really much to talk about. Also for patch 5.4, they said that they may have item upgrades. They worked very well in 5.3, especially with the reduced Valor Point cost, so I think they definitely should go ahead and do that in 5.4. Also in 5.2, they said that 5.2 is actually most likely to be the last big daily zone they do. What happened there is once people hit Exalted and got their mount, nobody bothered to do the quests, and the little progression meter just was pretty much like stale for a few days. So that was a big sort of problem. Not a big problem, but a significant one anyway. And I think they've definitely learned their lesson that players are just going to get burned out in more dailies, and they shouldn't do them. It does seem like they've taken that to heart. And the next thing is that they said they're leaning a lot more towards dynamic solo PvE content, so that's Battlefield Baron stuff, where you're doing content, you're doing the content you want on your own terms, you're getting good rewards for it, and it's not all pre-scripted. Now they said they're still going to have quests, but they're going to be more in the form of the 5.1 style main quest. In 5.1 they did have daily quest hubs, but they also had a main quest, which is quite interesting, so hopefully they do that. Also, they said that the Proving Ground trials include stuff like doing a certain DPS, being able to heal ads, and basically it's raid training. And the final thing in my little recap of this is that Defense of the Alehouse is not coming in 5.4. Now that's it for the recap. I'm still going to be playing around with the formula. I'd ideally like to expand it a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the views perform and stuff like that. Now, another thing I'm going to talk about is activity on the channel. So I've done a whole bunch of 5.4 preview videos, including Warrior and Priest Tier 16, the Timeless Isle, Immersius, and the Veil Changes. In terms of stuff I have pre-recorded at the minute, I've got the Siege of Orgrimmar, not the Siege, just Orgrimmar itself, done, and the Profession changes. I also want to do some videos on the new bosses that we've been able to raid test, so I can sort of get that information out to you. But yeah, there's lots of stuff to cover. It's a pretty exciting time to be doing what I'm doing on YouTube. Sort of plenty of things to do. So that's it. Please let me know what you think of the show. If you think there should be a longer format or a shorter format, anything like that, it would be very helpful for me to know. So yeah, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.